So you might be aware that The Mummy Returns is turning 25 this year, and it's being re-released in theaters for a limited time, which I'm looking forward to later this month. However, every time The Mummy Returns comes up in a conversation, it quickly devolves into, oh, look how bad the Scorpion King looked in that movie. And yes, I do agree that the CGI on the Scorpion King wasn't that good. According to John Burton, who was a visual effects supervisor on this movie, and also was a visual effects supervisor on the first Mummy movie from 1999, had this to say.
We need a day with Dwayne Johnson to photograph his face in high detail and do all the stuff that you would do. Because he was busy with his incredible WWE career, that was not possible. We had him for, I think, 3 days maybe in Morocco to shoot his scenes. We had shaders for subsurface scattering, but they were also relatively rudimentary. But what we didn't have was the ability to make the kind of textures that create the kind of structures on the face, the pore structures that you're so famous for pointing out.
The stretchy ones.
Those are the kinds of things that didn't make it in.
I mean, he's right, because if you look earlier in the movie, you see Imhotep being regenerated, and it looks pretty fake in terms of the effects. And the reason why it looked much better in the first Mummy movie from 1999 was that when he had more of a human-looking face by that point, it was mostly in prosthetics and makeup, so that's why it looked more realistic with some computer enhancements. They got a little too cocky in this one, and even outside of the Mummy movies at that time, you also had the Hulk movies from the 2000s, where the Ang Lee one from 2003, the Hulk wasn't really realistic looking. I mean, it did look better in the 2008 Incredible Hulk movie, but there are even moments in that movie where the character looks like a CGI character in a video game, and not necessarily a movie character. It wasn't until really the early 2010s with the Avengers where the Hulk started to look like a real character. It really did go to show how computer technology in the 2000s when it came to human skin was very limited. So when it came to the next movie by Steven Sommers, which was Van Helsing, they learned their mistake from The Mummy Returns and decided to have the actresses, which were Josie Martin, Sylvia Kulicka, and Elena Anya, who played the brides of Dracula in this movie. This time, they had the actresses available to do full body scans of them, but also their faces. What they did was they had these prosthetic makeup done on their faces that took about several hours to do, and then they would be in these blue bodysuits. They would also have these LED lights on them to be tracked, and also you had these guys in blue bodysuits at ILM that would lift them around to make sure that it looked like they were floating or flying in the air, and also they would make sure that the shots that they would shoot over in Eastern Europe where they shot in location, they would make sure that they would match up so they're not just a floating head awkwardly floating around, that matched up with their performances. If you watch the movie, the head and the body perfectly match each other. It looks flawless, it looks incredible in this movie, and it really does go to show how ILM definitely did a mistake in The Mummy Returns with that effect of the Scorpion King, and definitely improved upon it by the time we got to Van Helsing. I just felt like making this quick video because The Mummy Returns is coming out later this month, and I do enjoy this movie a good amount, and if you want to read more about the history of The Mummy Returns or even Van Helsing, then I highly recommend checking out my book 100 Years of Universal Monster Movies, both available in ebook digital and in print. So anyway, thank you for watching, please like and subscribe.